Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you are joining today's meeting. I welcome you all to another exciting meeting at ITU Toastmasters. I'm sure you will have something to take back as a learning from today's meeting. I welcome this Wonder Woman who challenged her own fate by her impulsive, rather the thought process that she had, a challenge that she thrown at her own fate and then moved even the Mount Everest that we all know that one of the biggest feat anyone can make. She challenged all the doctors who said she cannot make, but she made it. There's a lot to tell about her, and the time is very short. So let me invite this wonderful woman, Toastmaster Aparna Prabhu Desai, as the Toastmaster of the day. Over to you, Aparna.
Thank you, DTM Raghu. And good evening, good morning, good afternoon, as he said, to everyone. I woke up this morning and I planned a busy day. And then I noticed the calendar and my face turned gray. Why did I ever agree to be a Toastmaster for the day on Friday the 13th? That's what it is in India today. And it struck me so much later. I said, maybe that's a coincidence, Superstition in science is what we thought of. And here I am, the Toastmaster of the day for Friday the 13th. But for all of you who are still on the 12th, we have hope in life, right? And that's really the fun part. Some of us who hang on believing that the world is going to end. After all, we don't know, is it round, is it flat, where are we going? And then some of us who say, all this is humbug, there's nonsense. 2 + 2 is always 4. How could we ever believe in something like that? As a behavioral psychologist, one of my favorite statements is, are you coming from a place of truth or fact? And that's enough to confuse anybody and probably refer to another psychologist, a shrink, a psychiatrist, any of those, believe me. Truth and fact, do you mean they're different? Of course they are. The truth is, the sun rises from the east. Most of us say that. After all, Japan is the land of the rising sun. And we do have a lot of members who are from the eastern part of the world. So the sun does rise from the east. The fact, however, is the sun doesn't rise or set. It's the earth that is moving. So there are truths and there are facts. And I'm hoping as we discuss and go through the day today, we're going to look at some of the facts, which we say are science, and some which we would like to believe, and then they get called superstition. Just give me a moment and let me share my screen, please. Do let me know once it's visible. Thank you. So superstition and science, that's what we're going to be talking about. Welcome everybody to this wonderful meeting. I can see a whole lot of participants. And let me just quickly look at who do we have as guests with us. So welcome all the guests. I see Alfia there. I see Arpita Sharma. Roger is a guest, but he's a regular and we love to have him here. I see Vinny from Kenya, who's joined us as a guest. I see Joy, though I'm not sure if Joy is part of the group. We do have Sangeeta, who's a guest with us. So welcome everyone, guests and our members, the regulars and the others that we don't see as often. And we hope now that you're here, you're going to keep coming back to every meeting. For those of you who've not experienced a Toastmasters meeting earlier, possibly, let me just quickly walk you through how this works. We look at all our Toastmaster meetings in 3 sections. We've got prepared speeches, we've got the table topics, and then we have the evaluation round. So the entire meeting gets tracked in that space, right? So to start off, we're going to look at the prepared speeches. But before I do that, it's not just me as the Toastmaster of the day. I also have some interesting people who support a meeting. So let me just quickly get us going from there. Yep. Okay. So let me talk about whom I've just mentioned the guests. The timer, the first one I have is Sangeeta. She's going to keep a track of our time. Sangeeta, would you just say a quick hello and tell people what you're going to be doing?
Hello, good evening, everyone, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. My name is Sangeeta and I'm timer for today. So my role is to time the prepared speeches, table topics and evaluations. And for the prepared speech, the time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes, and I will show green card at 5 minutes and yellow card at 6 and red card at 7 minutes. And for the table topics, the allotted time is 1 to 2 minutes. For 1 minute, I will show a green card, and for 1.5 minutes, I will show a yellow card, and for 2 minutes, a red card. And for evaluation, it is for a duration of 2 to 3 minutes. For 2, I have a green and red card. Every speech also has 30 seconds of grace time. So I will be recording all the timings for all the speeches, and this is my role for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. For some reason, it muted me. All right. So there we also have our counter and the grammarian. I'm going to request our grammarian, the lady who's going to watch what we say and how we say it. Over to you quickly, Namita, for what you bring to us.
Thank you so much, Aparna ma'am. So my role for today is grammarian and our counter, and I'll be providing even the word of the day. Now, people say black cats are bad. They're a bad omen. You should avoid them. When they cross your path, you should not walk forward. You should stay away from it. That poor black cat did not do anything to anyone. We are just discriminating based on some weird superstitions. This is exactly what happens when people from different parts of the world discriminate against each other. They start to judge each other based on some assumptions they have in their mind. So, for the word of the day, I provide you the word black. Why black? Because black cat is not bad. Black cats are cute. They are adorable animals. So, use this word as much as possible, and I'll be watching every ahs and ums you are using, every filler words you are using, and I'll be noting down the good usages of grammar and even the bad usages of grammar. So, please watch your English. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay, I hope I haven't gotten mute again. All right. And then let me just quickly talk to you about what we are looking at. Okay. Science and superstition. So some definitions I've put up there. Science, they say, is rational and experimental, while superstition is irrational. Don't know about that. We'll talk more later. Science tests are made to arrive at certain conclusions. Like I said, 2 + 2 is 4. And superstition is blind faith. Black cats, white cats, let's figure it out soon. And science can be pure or applied, whereas superstition is personal, cultural, and religious. Okay, we'll talk some more later, but let's move on to the meat of the meeting, which is the prepared speeches. We've got 2 speakers today, and to take on for the prepared speeches. For our first speaker, I'm going to actually request the evaluator, Toastmaster Jaideep, to quickly walk us through the objectives of speaker 1, who's going to be Toastmaster Viveka. So Toastmaster Jaideep, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aparna. Today, I will be Viveka's evaluator. Her path is Persuasive Influence Level 1, and her project is Writing a Speech with Purpose. Her title is My First Honeymoon. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. So could we have the spotlight on Toastmaster Viveka? Yep. Toastmaster Viveka, are you there? Let me stop sharing and maybe that will work better. I don't know how to do that. Why won't it stop sharing? Okay, I think I'm just going to request somebody to help me with that.
All the best, Viveka.
Yep. So yeah, thank you. And we could have that with Viveka. So Toastmaster Viveka, my first honeymoon Toastmaster Viveka.
My first honeymoon. Disclaimer. This is not a Facebook or Insta public display of affection speech or how I learned the meaning of honeymoon. Considering that I live in India, this could have been a possibility. But we do know our basics right. This is a simple story of my honeymoon. What is a honeymoon? Well, two people like each other or their families like each other. They are declared as husband and wife and they go on a vacation. For most of the Indians, it's a vacation. For Westerners, I guess it's a honeymoon. Long story short, I went on a vacation with my husband. We married quite young. Both of us had recently started working. So we chose an exotic yet cheaper location, Thailand. That too, a subsidized version, Bangkok and Pattaya. To the people living on the western side of the globe, let me clarify. This was my first international trip. Yet, it was a classic case of what we dream when our parents are funding us and what happens when life happens. For me, it was a sharp fall from the shared dream of Greece to the reality of Thailand. Ideally, we should have waited, but I was hell-bent on going on my honeymoon trip. Wait, did I just call that my honeymoon? No, the one that happened there was a cocktail of vodka and disaster. Devashish, let's buy these mementos for our family, friends, neighbors. Yes, of course, we can buy them. What about this one? No, I like the other one. This one is cheaper. What about that lamp? It will look good in a room. Viveka, we live in a rented house. We really don't need it. Sweetie, let's be practical. We are here. Let's eat, drink, enjoy. I assure you, there shall be multiple other trips. For me, it was not about another trip. It was about this trip. The trip for Facebook, for my friends, for peers, for my office colleagues. I was stubborn, impractical, and childish. He was practical, yet immature. Ladies and gentlemen, I was not the only culprit, though I've taken the blame, but it takes two to tango. I really don't know what people do on their honeymoon because I certainly did nothing. I tripped, I blamed, had some fun in between, and tripped again. This was my first rendezvous with reality. We had a love marriage. My parents were completely against it. By the time my vacation ended, I knew they were somewhere right. Viveka, are you mad? What's the point of marrying a fatherless child? Above all, our culture has much better options. Why him? I was so convinced that my family would manipulate me, I hurried into marriage without understanding or considering the repercussions. Honestly, I was unaware of what living together meant. We were completely on our own. It's very strange. The relationship that survived years of distance was crumbling under the pressure of togetherness. After about half a decade later, we visited Russia. By that time, we had managed to coexist happily. I'd started bending more. However, bending has a problem. It's a compromise. Any compromise is not a choice between growth and decay. I was decaying. In fact, we were decaying. On our first day in Moscow, we visited Red Square. I was completely exhausted. Suddenly, a building caught my attention. It was a colorful church covered with multiple domes on top, shades of red, yellow, blue, green, orange, and white were talking to me. The building, the people, laughter, giggles, screams, happy holiday vibes, harsh December weather, extreme language barrier. Everything in my surrounding was talking to me. I knew at that very moment that this experience of my life shall be lived forever. To be lived, not survived, because my experience of enjoying life was completely my responsibility. Remember honeymoon? That was the moment I understood the real meaning of honeymoon. I was loving myself, and that was my first honeymoon with myself. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. There, that was fantastic, Toastmaster Viveka. And before you mute and we get the next speaker, what is the one superstition that you hang on to?
Superstition. Actually, I'm not that superstitious. My husband is superstitious.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Okay, but the cat thing has been so prevalent since, like, it's like in a subconscious, like collective subconscious. So yeah, the cat thing is still there. I try to avoid it, but it's still there somewhere.
Well, black cats, black magic, like we said earlier. Well, for all the members and the guests, let's have a big round there of applause. Please send in emojis, all those who have cameras on. Great job there, Viveka. Let's move on to our second speaker, an extremely capable, competent New Yorker. And we've got speaker two. There is Jim who's going to come in. But before he does, I'm going to request Toastmaster Susan to be able to give us the objectives for Jim's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Susan.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Jim will be speaking from the Persuasive Influence Path. He is working on level 1, the project Writing a Speech with Purpose. He's going to be reviewing the basic methods for writing a speech, present a well-organized speech on any topic. His title is Information, Not Invective. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Susan, for that. So Jim, let's reverse roles here. And why don't you start with telling me about the superstition before we get to hear your speech?
Superstition. The closest thing I think I have to a superstition is whenever I leave home in the morning to go to work, even though I know that all the buttons on the stove are turned off and that the refrigerator is closed, I have a tendency to just keep going back maybe once or twice just to make sure. And I don't know why it is, but my morning is not complete until I at least double check twice that I didn't leave the refrigerator open and that all the pilots on the stove are off. It's only at that time do I feel free to finally leave and go on my way to work.
Awesome.
I'm trying to break myself of it, but it's difficult.
Though very honestly, you said twice. I think that's just the smarts. That's not superstition. If you said thrice, I would have wondered and said maybe it's a superstition, right? So, well, everybody here, we have Toastmaster Jim. Information, not invective. Toastmaster Jim.
Thank you. I'm going to need everybody to gather around close to your screen. Get a little bit closer to your screen. I have something very important I need to tell you. Please, whatever you do, never read in bed. Again, never read while in bed. 2 weeks ago on a Sunday night after dinner, I'm sprawled out comfortably on my bed. My laptop is on my lap, and I'm reading an article. I'm propped up against a wall and I'm comfortable. But what usually happens, even when I don't want it to, my body starts to relax. And it did on this particular night. It relaxed to the point where I fell asleep. Now, I wasn't asleep for very long, I didn't think. But when I woke up and looked at my lap, my beloved Toshiba laptop, 15.3 inches, was not on my lap. I looked to my left, 2 feet below on a carpeted floor. My beloved Toshiba laptop was there. I opened the computer. I opened the lid. The screen cracked. Computer unusable. I had to make a decision right then and there. I needed a computer and I needed one now. Now, that hurt me to the core because one of the things I liked about my Toshiba laptop that I got in 2014 is that I found it very easy to type with these. Now, to you, they may look like hands, but sometimes to me, they feel like catcher's mitts. And with the wrong computer, I have a lot of trouble typing. But on my beloved Toshiba, that was never a problem. So I had to go to Best Buy the following day. Please, Mr. Geek Squad person, tell me, can I get my Toshiba laptop screen fixed? Well, Mr. Danson, yeah, we can fix it. We definitely can fix it. However, with a 2014 computer like yours, it's old. And Toshiba doesn't even make laptops anymore. So we think that you would be better off just getting a new computer. Well, I really didn't want to hear that because I like to do a lot of research before I make a purchase, especially one as important as a computer. But I really didn't have that luxury. I needed a computer. I needed one now. And I was at a perfect place to get one. So I took a couple of minutes, looked around the store, and found an Asus laptop, ASUS. And while I hadn't done a lot of research, I remembered that Consumer Reports had very good things to say about Asus laptops. So I got it. The 17.3-inch screen, really big, and it was really going to fit these. So I got it. And I was liking the speed because my Toshiba laptop was very slow. It had character, but it was very slow. Not so with the Asus. So I was liking it for a few days until I tried to find the camera on the Asus laptop. I couldn't find it anywhere. Where is it? I drew the conclusion, well, if I can't find it, it must be that it doesn't have a computer. How can a computer salesperson sell me a computer and not even tell me that there's no camera? What? Then I tried to see if there is an Ethernet cable that I can fit into the Asus laptop. I tried, but the opening was too small. Oh, come on. No camera and the Ethernet cable too small? Deal breaker entirely. I got to go back to Best Buy. I got to return this Asus laptop. As much as I like it, I got to return it. Please, no. So I made an appointment for May 7th to do just that. Return this computer. But first, before I did that, I wanted to let Best Buy know how I felt. And I really wanted to let them have it. So I went online and began a chat to tell them, give them a piece of my mind. A name cropped up on the screen, Ronnie. Sir, how may I help you today? Even though I couldn't see Ronnie, I pictured him. That's another person potentially on the end of that chat. And what if he's having a hard day? Do I really want to add to his hard day by just spewing all kinds of anger and frustration in his direction? I decided, as frustrated as I was, I just focused on two things. I asked Ronnie, listen, does the Asus computer have a camera? And secondly, can I get an Ethernet cable that fits the Asus computer? Just focusing on the information that I needed. And to my delight, Ronnie came through. He said, yeah, Mr. Denson, it does have a camera, and I'll show you how to access it. And he did. And because he did, you're watching me right now from the Asus camera. So thank you, Ronnie, for that. And secondly, he said, regarding the Ethernet cable, all it takes is getting an adapter so that any Ethernet cable can fit. Man, I really hit the jackpot. I don't have to return this Asus computer. I can enjoy it for years to come. Why? Because even in a moment fraught with frustration, I was able to choose information over invective. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my call to you. In any situation where you need some help and you're frustrated, always choose, when you can, information over invective. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Jim. That was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you both the speakers. I'm sure the evaluators are going to have a tough time there getting their thoughts going. But then we'll give them some time to work on that, because we're going to turn to an amazing person who's going to walk us through one of our fun sections of the meeting, the table topics. And to take up that table topics session for us, we've got our favorite Toastmaster Julie coming up. Julie, do I see you on screen?
Yes.
Lovely, there she is. And Julie,
There
which
she
one
is.
would you choose? Letting a cat cross your path or going under the ladder? Which one of them?
I think all these superstitions are nonsense. When I was a child, the people were saying, if you break a mirror, you are not going to get married. Well, silly things. And when I was a little girl, they were saying, if you put on your t-shirt upside down or inside out, you are going to have bad luck. I mean, come on, come on. I purposely put on my t-shirt inside out, and I didn't have bad luck. I think that superstition in the 21st century should be completely eliminated, because science is helping us in any way possible.
Raghu has a great question there. He says, how many times did you break the mirror, Julie?
Wow, I don't remember how many times, but I'm pretty sure I broke the mirror, but I married twice. Well, the first one was very short-lived, but the second one is more than 40 years. So that's what it is.
There you go. There you
Thank
go.
you.
No bad
Thank
luck
you,
there
Raghu.
for you. And
No,
over
no.
to you for the table topics for the day, Julie.
Yes, the table topics is based on my favorite four-letter word, B-O-O-K. I love books. Now, I usually pick the speakers after I say something, but this time I would like to ask for volunteers. The first item on my list is a quote from an American funny man, Groucho Marx, who said, I find television very educational. Every time somebody turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book. I ask one volunteer, what is your answer to this statement? Do you rather watch television or read a book? Who is going to volunteer? Yeah, Namita.
Hello, Toastmasters and dear guests. This topic is so interesting. I'll tell you why. Books, I love books. Now, books are portals to a whole new different world. Each book has its own adventure, whether it is Harry Potter or Cain and Abel, or the biography of Steve Jobs, or Wings of Fire. I say everybody should read book and ditch TV. You know why? TV is the black cat of our lives. TV sucks you into it. It keeps you glued to it, and you miss your important meetings. You miss important occasion at your family. You just stop interacting with people. These days, our elders say, my parents say that, Namita, you are always on mobile. You are always in front of laptop. What are you doing? I tell them, ma'am, sir, acha, amma, father, mother, I am working from home. I have to be in front of the computer. I have to use the mobile. That is why I'm not watching TV. You should be glad that I am reading books at least and not chatting with some random stranger and trying to make boyfriends online, you know. You know how many children are having virtual relationships. You know what all they do online. You should be glad that I'm focusing on my work and I got promoted because of the hard work I put in last year. So please spare me. I am not the black cat of the family. And please let me do my work. I'm not watching TV. I read books. Thank you.
You are my kind of a guy or lady, rather. Second question. It's a quote from Walt Disney. There is more treasure in books than in all the pirates' loot on Treasure Island. And best of all, you can enjoy these riches every day in your life. I ask a volunteer to say, would you like to have more books or more money? Who is going to volunteer? I'm eager to get a volunteer, or else I have to pick on somebody.
I would say just go ahead and pick up someone.
Just pick up someone? Oh no, I am going to pick on Aparna. Aparna.
Okay. Yes, I'm
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Now that you've caught me there.
Yes.
So an island full of riches or an island full of books?
Yes, that's right.
Well, I would have liked to say books because that's what is true. But no, let me get on a trip of a little bit of fantasy. Give me money any day. Books are lugging around. Money gets me riches. Money makes me happy. Books give me thinking. And I don't think I want to think anymore. Perhaps the money, spend it, splurge it, go get something fancy, give away a little momentary happiness. Who wants to think? Do I want to get any more wiser than I already am? Look at all the grays. All the books that I'm going to read are going to add to those grays. I'm going to get thick soda glasses. I'm going to have crinkles in my crow feet and so many things. Money, on the other hand, looks, jewelry, outfits, big cars, pretty homes. Give me money any day. Back to you, Toastmaster Julie.
Of course, I agree with you. Books are good, but you cannot live without money. You could live without books. Very hard to live without books, that's for sure. All right, the third one. I hope somebody will volunteer again. Brian Tracy is the quote. Read an hour every day in your chosen field. This works out to about 1 book per week, 50 books per year, and will guarantee your success. My question is, how are you making yourself more marketable? How can you make yourself more marketable? Is there a volunteer or do I have to pick somebody?
I can take this one.
Okay, good. Jaydeep.
Yeah. So 1 hour per day. As you mentioned, 1 hour per day doesn't seem like much. It's a small investment on a daily basis, but really this can stack up. And my personal experience is that a speech I gave a few weeks back, I mentioned that I started a programming course and I really didn't know what I was doing, but I put in a similar amount of effort of 1 hour a day, and I was able to make a career out of it. So yeah, really just knowing what you have to do to succeed, taking those steps and putting in even a nominal amount each day can really move you forward and make you very marketable. And if you know what you have to do to succeed, then you can really go far with as far as you want to go, really. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. All right. Well, I am supposed to ask a person, and I have a suggestion. Let me see. Yes, I will ask Bhupinder. Bhupinder, are you ready for a question? Where are you? Where are you? Are you ready, Bhupinder? Bhupinder.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So my question to you is, based on a sign that I have seen in the library, today a reader, tomorrow a leader. Do you go to libraries or do you want to buy books, or what is your answer?
So, I would visit the library regularly a few years back before the pandemic.
Yes.
That was solely for the reason of studying my academic books. But I'm not very big fan. I wish I could. I do buy books, but I don't end up reading them. So yeah, regarding the quotation you mentioned, today the reader, tomorrow the leader. I mean, I don't think it's necessary that if you read only then you can become a leader. For leadership skills, I think one must be able to lead themselves first. Then only you can lead other people or groups, organizations. So first and foremost, one should have the capability to lead themselves in their lives. And that reflects in other areas of our life.
Very good, and thank you very much. The next question is going to go to Manohar. Manohar, are you ready? Manohar, I'm going to give you an easy one, very easy one.
Hey, yeah. Please.
Yeah, right. A person who has dyslexia, problem reading, has really a good excuse for not reading. But those other people who don't read, what are they saying why they don't read? What are their excuses?
There can be many excuses actually. They don't want to waste their time in reading, and some are lazy to read. Some don't like reading. They like to hear when someone is reading.
Right.
And some might be illiterate, so they don't read.
Yeah.
So there could be many reasons similarly. So they don't read. Yeah, that's all I have.
Yeah, right. That's good. That's good. You know, you said it right. There are many, many reasons. One friend of mine says that right now she doesn't have the patience to sit down and read. So that can be a reason, and it can be a different reason at another time. Now I will give Kranti a very interesting question. What do you think, are books going to be eliminated after the technical inventions and science? Are books going to be eliminated? I know bookstores have been closing down. What is your take on that?
I don't believe that books are going to be eliminated. It gives a different pleasure and the way you connect to the story and the characters. Okay, it doesn't use the same thing whether you use some Kindle or any other or some reading some PDF over the night. But there are some academic aspects. It does get replaced in that because we are evolving towards the technology, and for a storytelling point of view and the way the fiction and the way you visualize them, it does have a big connect when you read it through books. I don't believe and I don't think or I don't foresee anything that books are going to be replaced. Books will be staying there. It's just that how we teach the next generations not to be tech biased and use books as well as part of early academics at least. And I do also do the same mistake during the later part in my career. Now I more rely towards a PDF because it's easily available and it's free. So there are ways that we should continue reading, and buying a book is always a good one, and we should continue. That's it.
Thank you very much. May I have one more? Do I have time for one more?
You have time for one more.
One more, thank you. And may I call Joy Talemba? Joy, are you ready for me?
Hi, I'm in transit, but maybe I could give it a try.
Well, I don't want you to get into trouble. So the easy question is, do you like to read electronic books? Do you like to read on the computer only?
Is this for me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, electronic books. Do you like to read electronic books or read on the computer? Or you prefer reading electronic books or the computer?
Okay. Toastmasters and guests, when was the last time you picked a hard copy book and flipped through the pages, traveled the world perhaps, learned a new skill? Toastmasters, I prefer to pick up a hard copy book, skim through the pages, enjoy the lessons, enjoy the stories, travel the world through the various pages. I prefer reading a hard copy book. COVID-19, unfortunately, impacted me, and I always experience a lot of screen fatigue. So I always prefer to pick up a book and read, enjoy, and learn. Over to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Joy. I prefer reading a book, and I even like the smell of it.
Lovely. We do have time for just one more, maybe.
Just
Winnie,
one more.
would Winnie want to volunteer?
Winnie wants to volunteer. All right. Winnie, I learned about a museum that is in Washington, D.C. that actually is called Word Museum. And I wish I could go and see it because it shows the future of reading. You walk into the room, you can check it on the internet. You walk into the room and you can look at a book electronically and read it in any language that you want. 21st century library. What do you think about this? Is it a good invention, or should we just stick with the good old-fashioned library? That's Winnie.
The libraries that we have currently in our country, we have books with yellow pages. And I guess that is the reason no one ever visits the library. Perhaps only the university students who scramble during the time for exams. But imagine the 21st century. What I will think of is having the author doing a snippet or a prologue of their book. We would have a we would have a 3D vision of how the books would appear, the imaginative aspect, a small film just created for how the book will be. So, given two options, entering a library filled with bookshelves of stacked books, yellow pages even. Some have never even been touched for more than 3 or even 5 years, or entering into this museum with brilliance, lights all over, everything electronic, digital, me being able to witness an author and hearing them through the audio videos. Which one would I pick? I'll definitely pick the 21st century. Back to you, Madam.
You are a 21st century lady. We have heard 8 different responses. One was better than the other. I'm not sure, Raghu, whether we are voting for the best, but I think all were winners. Back to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much for that, Toastmaster Julie. And topics apart, I must admit I'm an absolute bookworm. Endless books all over. Just on the Everest, I've got over 300 books. So I'm a hoarder when it comes to books, but well, it is, and it was lovely to hear everybody speak. Now, for any meeting and for all our speeches, it's the evaluations that help us get better with every single speech that we deliver. And we heard our 2 speakers, we now have the evaluations coming up. So for that first evaluation for speaker 1, we've got evaluator 1, which is Jaideep, coming over and sharing his evaluation for Toastmaster Viveka. Over to you, Toastmaster Jaideep.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aparna. So, Viveka, I really enjoyed your speech and the way that you expressed emotion. I noticed that you were standing up and you really used the room very well to express your emotions and basically hook the audience into your story. Also, we could follow the story very well. It was a personal anecdote, which I'm sure many people could kind of empathize with. So basically, it's a kind of I guess, a common thing in some parts, kind of some parents wanting you to basically go down one path, you go down a different path, and that's how you gain your freedom. So I think you captured that very well. As far as things to improve on, it was very, very hard for me to find anything really, but maybe you could delve a bit more into how you felt with your newfound freedoms kind of towards the end, maybe expand upon that a bit. But other than that, I really couldn't find anything else for you to improve on. So yeah, to summarize, you expressed emotion very well and used the room very well. And to improve, maybe delve a bit more into how your newfound freedom made you feel. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jaideep. I'm sure Viveka is going to benefit with all that you've shared. And we'll move on to someone I love to hear. She just calms me down so much. We've got Susan coming in with her evaluation for Jim's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Susan.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Aparna. Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and especially Jim. I was so delighted to be able to give this evaluation today. You started off with a title that was actually a little bit intriguing. I actually had to look up the word. Invective is not one we often say. And as I looked it up, I realized insulting, abusive, and highly something language. Yes, okay, I can't read my own writing. The key was, that's the antithesis of everything we do in Toastmasters. So I was so delighted to hear your calm demeanor throughout. I was waiting for that invective and where your lesson was going to come. You had a wonderful pace and called your audience to attention immediately. Gather around, come closer, have something important to say. And you let us know that. It's like saying, hear ye, hear ye. We all need to know this is important. But you did one step further. You actually repeated it. Never read in bed. Let me repeat that. Never read in bed. That's the message that you're imparting to your audience. Now we're with you. You told the story so beautifully, from being in bed and falling asleep, and then the cracked, beloved Toshiba. You then added in some humor as to why it was so beloved, because you had these hands. They may not look like much, but to you, they felt like catcher's mitts. And that was a great way to interject some humor, because now we were with you in that environment of why that beloved Toshiba mattered so much. Your word choices were clear, your pace was clear, your smile and your gestures throughout were supportive. You did go on to tell us the main reason for your title and how you got together with Ronnie. Now, one thing, you told us there's a person on the other end. You might have been able to give him a voice. Ronnie, hello, and have the voice back. Even if it's a chat voice, you could be envisioning it, and that might enhance the message as well. You did say two things, and you repeated them. That was solved for the solution. You already had the camera. Phew, blow your mind, you've got it. Thank you. And then secondly, how to get an adapter. You gave us a valuable lesson, a call to action, where you were telling us, with all the things that you have for choices, choose to tell the information, not use the invective. I thought it was a delightful presentation. I enjoyed it thoroughly, well delivered, well crafted, and a meaningful message that we can all hold to heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That was really wonderful. I'm sure Jim's picked up. And as I mentioned after he finished speaking, absolutely loved hearing you, Jim. And earlier, Viveka's energy was just so fantastic. She transported me to honeymoons in, the far off easts. Well, we've got the two evaluators share their evaluation. Let's hear from the other three who were helping us as well. Well, we've had one person roll into two, with Toastmaster Namita doing both the roles, but the timer report quickly for us. Could we have the timer share with us everyone's timelines, please?
Yes, I will summarize the time taken by each speaker.
Sure.
So we have the speaker 1 who took 5 minutes 55 seconds. Speaker 2 took 7 minutes 38 seconds. And the table topics, first person took 1 minute 35 seconds. That was Namita. Table topic 2 by Aparna took exactly 1 minute. Table topic 3 by Jaideep was for 48 seconds. Fourth table topic by Bhupender was for 58 seconds. Table topic 5 by Manohar took 37 seconds. The next sixth one by Kranti was for 1 minute 22 seconds. Seventh one by Joy was for 50 seconds. The eighth last final table topic by Vinny was for 1 minute 21 seconds. And moving to evaluation. So we have the first evaluator, Jaideep, who took 1 minute 7 seconds. And the second evaluator, Susan, who took 3 minutes 5 seconds. Yes, I think this is all we have for today.
Wonderful. Thank you for all that detail there, Sangeeta, for the fantastic job done. And moving on to Toastmaster Namita to give us the grammarian report.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Aparna. Now, I am so happy that there were absolutely negligible grammatical mistakes. There were negligible grammatical mistakes, but hardly anyone used the word of the day, black. It is so easy to use. Jim, you're wearing a black t-shirt and your evaluator, Susan, could have used it. I was the only person who used the word black twice. Apart from that, the good usages were by Viveka, subsidized, hell-bent, two to tango, to be lived, not survive. My first honeymoon with myself. I agree with your speech because my honeymoon was exactly the same. I hated my honeymoon because my husband cribbed and cribbed and cribbed about it. He made my life miserable, and after 9 years of marriage, I divorced him. So that was all the good usages of yours, Viveka. Now, good usages of Jim. Those were infective. That was a really new word for me. I was searching for the meaning in my mind and listening to you carefully, and then I understood from your speech what it meant. Thank you for the new word. I learned something from you today, but there were some bad usages such as double check twice. Double check means you have checked twice. So you don't have to say double check twice. And then there was one more thing. I was liking the screen, begin a chat. So it should have been, I had a chat with a person online. You understood the difference, Jim? Yeah, so the sentence was not properly formed when you spoke about it. I was liking the screen, begin a chat. It should have been, I had a chat with a person online. There was someone online with whom I had a chat to try to understand where was the issue in my laptop. Where is the cable connector? Where is my camera? So the sentence should have been that. I hope I made myself clear. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Now the rest of the good usages are by Julie, Madam Julie, bedlock, short-lived, educational, dyslexia, and invention. Madam Aparna, give me money any day, book one, infective. Jaydeep, make a career out of it. Anecdote, we don't use the word often. It's such a beautiful word. Bhupender, one must be able to lead themselves first. That was a very wonderful usage. Manohar, I'm so glad you did not have any mistakes at all. Your grammar was just perfect. Kranti, your good usages were storytelling, point of view, and foresee. Joy, your good usages was, the only good usage I could remember was travel the world, because your TT was really interesting for me, and I forgot to write the rest of the good usages. I'm sorry for that. And Vinny, the word you used is scramble. And Madam Susan, the good usages by you were intriguing, catch a smith, and hold on to your heart. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Aparna.
Thank you for that, the grammarian Namita. Good jotting down of everything that you did notice during the meeting. And that gets us to the end of the evaluation rounds and being able to hear all that we could improve on, what went well, what could have been better. And of course, not just Jim who's wearing black. I see you wearing black trousers too. And we could have looked at some of the black there possibly. Yep. Well, most of us stay away from black. If you ask me, I'm a white person, fond of the color white. Yep. So looking at, and is that a superstition? Well, I don't know. Sometimes red is supposed to be a color people stay away from. Okay. But before I wrap up the theme and look at, where we are at, I thought we've talked so much about superstition and we've talked so much about, is it good? Is it bad? Julie was so, vocal in saying it's humbug, and I probably believe some of it. But some of these superstitions have a place as to how they've come in. And one of the easiest ones, I'm just going to pick up one. This is spilling of salt is supposed to be unlucky. Now, where did that come from, right? The reason was that earlier people got paid in salt. Way back in the centuries when it came about, salt is how people got paid, and salt was equivalent to salary. And that's where spilling that wasn't a good deal. So it just traveled over the years. So some of the superstitions have had some base to something sensible. My grandmother used to always tell me, don't sweep the house after sundown. It'll bring you bad luck. Well, that's a very strong one in India, especially. And I'd say humbug. I want to clean. I want to sleep at night and I want a clean house. And I would want to sweep. But it makes sense. Old times, we did not have electricity in homes. And if you swept something out, you don't know what you swept with it. And hence, you would sweep in the morning. So some of it made sense. Some, like the poor black cat, got named for no rhyme or reason. They're the most beautiful creatures one could ever find. Why would you want to avoid one ever? So take it with a pinch of salt in whatever it works for you. As a psychologist, something that I always say, the word is a superstition. You know, Namita is friendly. And then I have somebody saying Namita is ABC. Both our perspectives are true. The minute you say so-and-so is, that's a superstition. When there is no basis to it, think about it. Do I want to use the word is when I look at somebody? Wrapping up on that theme, I'd like to hear from some of our guests how they felt about the meeting before then we go on with getting some of our nominations for next week. So some of our guests who've joined in, could you share with us what you thought about the meeting? And we will wrap up. We are a minute over time. So just take a quick one from anyone who's joined in. Althea, would you want to share your views? Since you didn't speak on